Hi, everybody. It's me, Jessica Lahore.
And hey, everybody, it's me, Kelela C, honey.
And we are your Denver DIVAs, giving you another fabulous review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13, Episode 6.
6, honey. Can you believe it feels like it's been a year?
It's been a year. But before we get into this episode, everybody, make sure that you go and hit the subscribe button on both my channel and Kelela C's channel. Hit the little bell to get all the notifications and comment below. Make sure to interact with us and sit back as we get into this week's episode.
Girl.
So we get into this week's episode. This is episode 6 now. We have 11 entertainers left in the competition. They kickstart the episode by bringing up the drama that we talked about from last week. And, it really kind of resolves in the sense that they're just going to get over it. Like, that is really it.
Right. It was like just, okay, we're going to be done. We're going to get over this. We're going to move forward. And I love that. The drama in me, the drama starter in me wants to not be that way. I'm like, who cares? Let's keep the drama going. But also, like, I get it.
Well, you have to think of it in this way that, like, in the past seasons, anytime there's drama and they're over it, it just, like, leads into the episodes constantly. It's never forgotten. It's going to be there forever.
Right. So even though they made up, let's be honest, without foreshadowing, it's still going on.
For sure. So they end up getting over it. They go to the mini challenge. The mini challenge is them teaming up into pairs and one throuple for a wallpaper design challenge. It's more of a comedy challenge. Of course, nobody picks Elliott and Tamisha. They're not doing the best in the competition, and with what went on last week, I don't blame them. But they win the mini challenge. So I'm sure.
And could y'all believe that, all of you viewers of this review show, that those are the two who are not picked? I would also not pick those two. So.
I know you would not.
Hello. Everybody's on the same page here.
Right. And so I'm sure all of them are a little bitter because they don't like them, but that was weird. Did you see that?
What was that?
The groups that they're assigned in or that they team up with is Utica and Olivia. Okay. They have Tamisha and Elliott, Roseanne and Denali, Lala and Simone, and then Tina, Gottmik, and Candy. And Tina, Gottmik, and Candy at this point have kind of gotten into a Rolaska Talk style clique.
Very that.
Which never works. Cliques are always warned on the show, and every time that one even thinks about coming up. I did name their clique Got Candy.
Got Candy?
Got Tandy.
Dot Candy.
Tandy. Got Tandy.
Tandy. Like Tandy Amon. Let's be honest about this. No matter what the name is, creating an alliance on a show where only one person wins does not work. It doesn't work. And because let's be honest, you don't have to make it to the top 4 to be famous on Drag Race. You could be the 5th place. You could be last place, honestly. Look at Vanjie, all of them. Yeah. So it's like, why are we still in 2021 creating these moments? It doesn't need to happen. I'll tell you right now, no matter how much I like you, if I went on a TV show, it's about me and me only.
Exactly.
Period.
They go from this group. Each of them are given a different section of disco. So they have like the beginning of disco, the birth of it, the failure of it, which I didn't know about the disco sucks. The fire burning in Chicago. I had no idea that was like a movement. So that was a learning.
I think they gave a lot of history that we normally would not have gotten on national television. So that's super cool that they use this moment to talk about disco in a way that isn't always talked about, you know. It's talked about in this fun Studio 54 way, like it was always a good time. But they gave you a little bit more backstory on disco, and I love that. And you know RuPaul. She is a vessel of information when it comes to queer culture, but culture in general, especially Black culture. And so it's always good and fun and inspiring to me to watch RuPaul talk about her life and her past and what she's inspired by. as much as you can with RuPaul. That she has a lot wrong, but she does a lot right. You know?
Yeah, I mean, people forget that. Yeah, you don't excuse what's wrong, but you have to realize that this is a black queer individual that is running a very large program to showcase to the entire world.
Amen. And let's be honest, if me or you were the RuPaul of the situation, they wouldn't be talking about our mistakes as much as they talk about her mistakes. So at the end of the day, I'm just grateful that RuPaul uses her platform to talk about queer history and black history as much as she can. So
for sure, they during this disco challenge not only have to put on a disco look of some kind during that era that they were given, but it's a dance challenge, so they have to learn choreo, which is concerning to some but exciting for others. And we also kind of learn about some other new dancers that are not professionally trained but are very good at what they do.
But they have movement, and let's talk about this a little bit. We are different in that way, where I was a trained dancer since I've been 9 years old. So I've always had that in my bones. I don't think that you didn't do dance as a kid, correct?
No.
But you know movement enough. As a dancer, you can't teach people how to be a dancer the way I'm a dancer.
Yeah.
But you can teach people how to hear music and feel the rhythm and feel the beat. And so there's multiple people who can do it. You can make it happen for yourself in your own way.
Yeah, and most of the disco moves were not very difficult moves back in the day. It was not like the Rose. We'll get to that, but they each had sections of choreo. Each of them had a time to shine. Candy, Gottmik, and Tina go first to introduce this. And I immediately had the question in my mind of like, these looks that they're presenting, like for the main stage, granted to the main stage, it's how are you staying true to the disco theme? How are you also making sure that it's not too draggy? Because some of the outfits I thought went too costumey drag. And then also, how do you modernize like the fashion? Like, how do you put your own spin on it without going too out of the realm?
Right. Well, it was also confusing because you start out with them and they all matched, right? Like they looked like they were a girl group, like a 3-person girl group. And then you go on, and we'll talk about this a little more, but you go on and you see that not everybody was that way. So it's like, were they given the tea to say, hey, wear red, yellow, and this or whatever for the disco challenge? Or was it just said to be disco and everybody had to bring a disco look whether it matched or not?
True. Or did they get in the group and say, hey, Tina, what's your disco look? Oh, I only have red and orange, so I guess we have to wear something to match you, girl. Tina was very, like, I love Tina's outfit, but it was very drag and more costumey comparison to Gottmik and Candy.
Right. And maybe it wouldn't have come off that way if Gottmik and Candy had bigger looks. Because honestly, when Tina came out, like she was the first one on and did that little ba-ba-ba. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm sold. When Tina came on, she sold the gig for me. So I base everything off of what she looked like. Okay. But I agree with you. Her look in comparison was very drag.
And so I was kind of looking at fashions a little bit more and the videos that came before each person's introduction. And when they danced for like what was being said over the speaker because it was leading into it.
Yeah, like the disco videos. Yeah.
So then afterwards, it was Tamisha and Elliott, and I thought both of them looked really, really great in their outfits. I
love Tamisha's outfit. I thought it was super cute for disco.
Yep. Thought they both did really great. You could tell that Tamisha was off with some of the hula hooping, but I thought it was good.
I thought it was all right. Coming after that first group, because Tina really did come out selling Tinta Burnter disco moment. Yeah. So coming after that first group is always going to be hard if they really sell it. The goal is to have the first group be the worst group, right? So then everybody else afterwards looks great, whether they were or not. As I liked it, it wasn't as good as the first group for me. So
oh, for sure. After Tamisha and Elliott, it was Olivia and Utica. Olivia to me was like stunning, like hard to take her off of the whole time.
She is the girl in these challenges. If they have to do anything musically inclined, that includes dancing, singing, rapping, whatever, anything that involves music, Olivia's got it. You know what I mean? And then she added, like they said in the runway moment, the hair and everything. Like she added the disco into it. Like she just really sold disco. And to be the youngest or newest queen on the stage, that's refreshing to see that the new girls, the young girls, have not lost sight of where they came from.
But then it did not look good for Utica. One didn't like Utica's look. I didn't like that. This was not a moment to be campy. This was not a campy comedic.
Right.
And I was like, Utica, you can't. What are you doing with your mouth? Like,
Right, like overdoing it. And we've talked about this a little bit with her, that like the campiness is cute and fun, and that's who she is. But when it gets in the way of your actual challenge or your actual task, it just becomes like tropey. And they do talk about that. We'll get to it on the runway. But they talk about how it's great that you're campy, but it can come off like you're doing a caricature of a campy person.
After Utica and Olivia, it was Roseanne Denali, and I thought that it was super cute. What I didn't like is that I didn't think Denali's look was disco at all. From the hair to the outfit, I didn't get any kind of disco vibes. And
yeah,
there's specifically the reason that I said that I was paying attention to the videos, like how they were talking about, they had disco fashion, like that was their gig, and they talked about tight pantaloons and flared hair, and they talked about spaghetti straps, and I'm like, neither of you are wearing what you're introduced to start
as doing. Yeah, and that's the thing, it's easy to find, especially these days, because let's be honest, the disco fashion movement is coming back into fashion as a popular thing. Like bell-bottom jeans, those are popular right now. You can get bell-bottom jeans on Fashion Nova for $20. So like,
it would have been a great moment to break up the fashions by wearing a jean. Like that would have been the moment to do that.
So for me, it's like it ties back into what I've kept saying about Rosé. It feels as if she's really not sure of herself as much as we are all sure of her. We know Rosé can do it. So it's like, just do it, girl. And it feels like she's not thinking fully. She's just like moving through the motions of Drag Race.
After Roseanne Denali, Lala and Simone, and what I loved is that it started on a really great note with Tina and Candy and Gottmik, and it ended on a really fucking strong note. And it had good ups and downs in the middle of like, it was good, like we made it through, but they ended it like they were so good.
They had this energy that it didn't matter what the choreo was. When they did that little back and forth, left, right moment, it was just, it sold the gig for me. And disco really is about having fun and having a good time. So no matter what the choreo was, they had a good time, and that sold further than anything else could have sold. So
overall, I liked this challenge. I thought everyone did pretty damn good from start to finish, and I wasn't mad about it. I didn't have cringeworthy moments.
There really wasn't anybody that I could say I was not impressed by. Everybody was pretty good.
Yeah.
For the most part. Of course, there were the best. Yeah, no matter what your opinions are, everybody had a good time in that first 30 minutes of RuPaul's Drag Race, season 13, episode 6, Carl.
The runway was little black dress. What do you think of this runway theme?
So, for me, I'm wearing a little LBD right now, and it's a mini dress. I think a little black dress is so important for you to have in drag. It is a tip around look. It is a performance look. So having an LBD benefits you in those moments.
For sure.
So I think this challenge is very representative of what we do in natural drag.
Well, and I didn't want to see. I wanted to see what I liked about this runway is this was not a draggy runway for me. I did not want to see mega ultra costumey interpretations of this. I wanted to see different versions of your style of a little black dress.
Right, because an LBD is meant to be simple but effective. It can be simple, but it has to be effective.
Well, let's get into it. So we kind of talked about what our idea of this runway was. The first down was Tina Berner. If Tina did not start, it would have been more of a problem for me. I think that because she started, she got away with being revealy, costumey, the paint splatter thing. I I didn't mind the dress underneath it. I really didn't mind it because it was a flare to a little black dress, but the whole production of it could have done without it.
Well, see, you just said production, and that's where I was going to go. My issue is we just talked about little black dress should just be simple and effective. And she went in this way that we knew Tina Berner was going to go. We already knew this.
Yeah.
She just does this thing, and it kind of ties into Utica as well, where it's like the camp can stop at some point.
I love a good reveal. This wasn't the moment for it, or not that type of reveal. And I'm not mad at the dress at the end, but also the production to get there was unnecessary. It's like a mini Cheers for me. It wasn't that great. It wasn't a shady sip moment for me. But
yeah, I can't shady sip it because it was cute.
Next on the runway after Tina was Candy Muse. I love this, and I think that the little black dress moment is fearful for individuals that are a little bit, bigger build. They're
bigger, yeah.
And so I think that Candy did this in a way that made her feel comfortable just as much as it was very fashiony and very different. What I didn't like was the hair and the makeup looked beautiful, but I didn't like the hair and how it was everything happening on the face with the prints.
I loved all the pieces. My only issue with it was Aja did this same exact silhouette for All Stars for the Gaga moment. Do you remember that?
I do. Oh my God.
Yellow hair. That was great. Both looks separately are iconic because they're fashion. If you're gonna do that kind of reference, it kind of feels weird when someone else has already done it.
Next on the runway after Candy Muse was Gottmik. And I said, if we're going to reference like other things that have come down the runway, I got immediate Violet Chachki vibes. That was the first thing that I got. Oh. And I liked it because it worked for Gottmik. But if anybody else tried to wear that or do that, they would get dragged for it and it wouldn't work for them.
You just said everything I feel. Like, they're great. Gottmik is amazing.
Yeah.
But if anybody else would have done what they did, it wouldn't have worked.
No.
It wouldn't have worked. But congrats to Gottmik because it did work for them.
Next on the runway was Elliott. And this is what I think of when we were talking about the theme, and that was the first thing that I thought of. That's like very similarly to the sheer one. Like Kimura is like, if everybody does a very simple black dress, I'm going to hate them all. But I know there's going to be one person that does it, and I'm okay with it because it's the first super simple black dress that I've seen. And that's why I liked it. This is why I liked it, because it is what it is. It was a simple black dress.
Well, and you just said what I feel about it. It is what it is.
After Elliott, it was Tamisha, and I felt very similarly with Elliott's. Like, it was again a simple black dress, but what I hated about it is that it's like the same thing that I've seen Tamisha in for the fourth time in a different color with the same hair and the same jewels. Just the same thing.
How many times do we have to see this? Because I'm so excited, and by excited I mean disappointed, that Tamisha Mon is just, she's not doing it.
You've already had your opportunity to showcase your style, who you are as a drag person. I am now craving elevation and modernization, or like a different approach from you, and it just hasn't happened the last 2 episodes now.
It doesn't work out for you when you don't step it up.
Nope. Next person down the runway was Olivia, and I like that she had time in between using the little purse. I thought it worked really well with this little black dress look. I liked her hair. Her dress was nothing like crazy, but I just liked everything about her look was perfect.
Well, the good thing about it was the tiny purse finally made sense, right?
Yep. Finally, right?
You needed that tiny purse for the LBD moment because it's a little black dress. We finally get what you were working up to. Now let's hope she has no more little purses.
Olivia, I liked it. So to me, it was just perfect for what I was thinking of with the look. She looked great with it. She sold it to me.
Yeah, she sold Olivia, and I'm glad that Olivia's finally showing Olivia.
Next is your favorite to say, Utica. Utica is next. And I was super excited by it, but I totally understand explain like like you have to explain your outfit. It doesn't really make sense. It was too much for something so simple.
And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you are your earrings. I love that. I also have earrings that are people. But it's like, honey, it like Lonnie Love said, if you have to explain it, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work that way. And again, it goes back to the theme. The theme is little black dress. Why are you all doing so much for little black dress? And we still have yet to get to the person who did little black dress correctly.
Well, next after Utica is Denali. And again, if Denali would have taken out the spider elements, I think I would have liked it. But because it was like the third eyes, and then like it was cute for a different theme, for a different runway.
Right. And that's the common theme of tonight. Most of their looks would have worked for another moment. The gag of it doesn't need to be there. It doesn't have to be intense. This is not intense. But when I walk out in this and my little gig, people live.
Rosé was next, and I did not enjoy any of it.
No.
The hair, the makeup, the dress, the tool, it swallowed her face. I just didn't enjoy any of it.
When she represents exactly what I'm talking about. Why did you need to add all that gray tool? She even said in her little moment, she said, I know it was little black dress, but I wanted to like turn it up a little bit. And so I put all this gray tool on. And it's like, okay, girl, but it didn't work.
She's coming on this show thinking that she needs to showcase a certain aspect of her because she's from New York or she has the title, when I'd rather just see her do her and stop worrying about doing better or next thing. And like,
yes, you just said it.
After Rosé, Lala Ree comes down the runway, and I think that she looks like her between her hair, makeup, and her dress. I really love this. What I don't think is necessary is the neck piece. I think the neck piece, either the neck piece and no earrings, or just like you didn't need it. If she did that long black hair and just the black dress, that would have been a serve for me.
Right, and drag artists sometimes forget about weight, and I say weight in the means of like your clothing. You have a lot of weight going on right here. If you have long hair, earrings, necklace, shoulder pad, moment, that's too much going on up here.
I did like it though overall, and I wasn't mad about it in comparison to the other people.
I would still cheers it.
Next down the runway to finish it off after Lala Ree was Simone. And I just thought that it looked, I'm going to start just because I know that this is your bitch. I thought that it looked so fucking good. I think anybody that is going to play into a reference for RuPaul's, like RuPaul, it's a reference from one of RuPaul's music videos. So obviously that's going to be a bonus point. What I like is that it wasn't overthought. It was modernized for the little black dress. She was glistening. She was glowing. I think that the hair was great, but I don't think that she was used to like modeling in a hair like that because it looked like it was top heavy on her. Like she looked uncomfortable walking with it on.
Okay, I can get into that, but what I will say, you kind of explained it all for my feelings about her look. She did LBD in such a simple way. It was a very pretty girl, you know, what's her name? Julia Roberts. Did she do Pretty Girl or whatever? It was very that reference, like with just the circle O-ring in the center. It was 2 pieces of fabric put around an O-ring. Cool, cute, kiki. But that's what LBD is. And then she added that RuPaul Backroots reference. And I was just gagged. It's like, it's that moment where you think of it just a little past the point. Yes, it's LBD. Yes, it's simple. But I'm going to add this extra piece. And maybe she's pandering to RuPaul a little bit.
Yeah, it had movement to it instead of just being fabric either. It wasn't a sequin, but it had movement when she was modeling it.
Right.
I loved it. So it would be a cheers for me for sure.
It's a cheers for me, honey.
So we get down to it. They excuse everyone that's safe, and the tops and the bottoms that are remaining are Tina Berner, Utica, Olivia, Candy, Elliott, and Tamisha. Okay, they go down the critiques. They realize that in the top 3, it's Tina, Olivia, and Elliott are in the top 3, and Utica, Candy, and Tamisha are in the bottom. Do you agree or disagree with the tops and the bottom?
I actually would have switched out Candy and Elliott just based off of who the 6 were.
Well, and that's why I was like, maybe this was a production moment where they kind of used the outfit in the performance in the main challenge as like the leverage to put Tamisha and Candy in the bottom.
In the bottom, because Candy's look was very basic in the performance. Yeah, I hear that.
And I think that if anybody else tried to do again the very predictable little black dress, Elliott would have ended up in the bottom.
Right.
But because she was the only one to do a good, just very simple, no accessorizing, no over the top, besides like a little cape. It was just a little black.
It worked. It worked because she was the only one who did it. Yeah.
Exactly. So Candy and Olivia's the winner. And it was between her and Tina. The way that the judges talked about it, it was between Tina and Olivia. I love that Olivia won because I think that it's started like she deserves more respect from some of the legends from New York. She deserves significantly more like we're in the same competition kind of attitude. And I think that she's finally getting it.
Needs to be respected a little bit more because 2 to 3 years may sound short to you because you've been doing it for 12 years. But honey, in the 3 years she's been doing it, clearly she's slaying.
I hands down thought Utica was in the bottom based off of how the judges critiqued the outfit, hair, and makeup and performance in the challenge and the outfit, hair, makeup, and look on the runway. So hands down, Utica was there.
Yeah, I could see that, but also at the same time, I'm like, girl, Utica has done so well before.
I'm so happy that she wasn't. Don't get me wrong, but based off of that, I thought it was going to be her and either Candy or her and Tamisha.
Right, I could see that, but also at the same time, it's like, girl, Utica cannot be in the bottom this episode.
Tamisha and Candy have to lip sync against each other. It's a pretty decent.
We love production.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that it was like they wanted that moment to happen after their fight. They ended up making up in Untucked, which we find out later on, which is kind of cute. Like they were actually over it, so that was kind of nice. And Candy Muse is the winner. It's pretty obvious in the lip sync as well because Candy killed that lip sync against Tamisha. Tamisha was not bad, but Candy just had that extra oomph to it.
And, yeah, and I will say they both did lip sync, but Candy just sold it a little bit.
For sure. And Tamisha really showed an example of what it looks like to leave an elimination, like to be eliminated from this competition. Out of anybody that's been eliminated, the way that she spoke and the way that it wasn't about her, but it was literally about this experience was, I loved hearing that.
It was graceful. She left gracefully. What do you feel? Who's your top right now?
So now my top 4 is kind of shifted because I definitely see Olivia in the top 4. I see Olivia and Simone, like hands down, no questions in the top 4.
For me, my top 4 right now is Simone, Candy Muse, Olivia, and either Gottmik or Denali.
You're fabulous, Kelela. I love doing this with you. I'm excited for next week and the weeks after that as well. And it makes me kind of brainstorm some other projects and see what we can come up with. With that being said, we'll see you all next time for another fabulous Denver Divas review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13. Bye.
Bye.